Hey guys, I'm Jim, KN4YCD, and you're watching FEP Labs Radio. I got me a new Christmas present early. I ordered it from Gigaparts yesterday on Friday, Black Friday, and miraculously it showed up today on Saturday, and I'm posting this video on Saturday. So that's amazing. Gigaparts, thank you for the super awesome holiday customer service. I got an AA-1400 from Rigexpert. This is one of their higher end antenna analyzers, and it covers from 0.1, 100 kilohertz to 1400 megahertz or 1.4 gigahertz. I think I got all those hertzes right. It kind of hurts sometimes. Stick around, let's take a look at it. We have this bad boy. A Rigexpert AA-1400. And if you don't know, I want to share it with everybody. Gigaparts is where I got this stuff from. And Gigaparts is having, you know, of course, it's Black Friday and all that, right? They have this on sale for $4.99, I believe is right. Yeah, $4.99. Normally $7.99. So $300 off. This is the AA-1400, which covers from somewhere above DC, probably about 60 hertz. Oh, I lied. 0.1 to 600 oh, that's the wrong antenna analyzer, Jim. 0.1 to 14 megahertz to 1400 megahertz. So 100 kilohertz to 1.4 gigahertz. And of course, here's instructions and all the functions that it'll do. This uses AAA batteries, and included in this is a charger, 3 rechargeable AAA batteries, a US power adapter, which I assume that's USB cable. There's the device, an N to PL259 connector, or SO239 rather. On higher frequencies, you really are supposed to use N-type connectors. So I have a AA55 Zoom as well, and it has a PL or SO239 on it. I have a Rigexpert Stick Pro, which has an N-type connector on it. So you have to use an adapter with it. It does not surprise me that this guy has an N connector on it because it goes up so higher in frequency. But it covers all the HF ham bands as well as VHF, UHF, and above some other stuff. Oh, okay. So the plug for the battery charger comes with a, whatever that is, Euro style plug, I think. I don't know. Don't be offended, guys. I'm an American. We use the little square ones. And that is just an adapter, I believe. Yeah. To plug that into US power. More plastic. So the Rigexpert comes in a case. I wouldn't call that a case. I'd call that more of a bag, but. And here it is, and she's large and in charge. Take a look at that. So we are going to test this here in a minute. Little ASMR action. I love tearing plastic off of stuff. It looks like there's one on here. There is. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right, let me take a quick break. I'll get batteries in this, and I have an antenna to plug it into. Okay, so got batteries in it. They don't have much of a charge, and I don't have any AAAs close at hand. So the antenna I have hooked up right now is my antenna for FlightAware. You can download software called PiAware. It's a Linux distro called PiAware, and put it on a Raspberry Pi and track aircraft ADS-B transmissions. and then it displays it on a map, and it pushes that data up to FlightAware, so you get an enterprise account for free, which is like $90 a month for an enterprise account from FlightAware for uploading your ADS-B data that you receive. Aircraft, almost all aircraft are pushing out ADS-B data. It is public information about their flight plans and so on and so forth. There are exceptions to that. Obviously military, some private aircraft that don't have ADS-B transponders, that data is picked up from other directions. That's a whole nother video. To quote Elton Brown, that's a whole different show. Anyway, this antenna right here is the one that I've got hooked up to it. ADS-B transmits on 1.09 gigahertz. So I have a 1.09 gigahertz stick antenna outside on a mast. And that feeds data through the cable to my Raspberry Pi over there and whatever. So I want to, let's see what that antenna looks like. Let's run an SWR graph on a 1.09 gigahertz antenna. So this is the first time I have ever played with this. Let me zoom the camera in a little bit so you guys can see this a little better. Oops, maybe a little too far there. Okay. So we're going to tell it scan SWR, and let's just go and see what we get. Now that's scanning at 700,000 kilohertz. So that looks like that's scanning 40 meters. Let's change the frequency range here. Yeah, I mean 14 megahertz. Derp. Okay. And give it a start. There you go. There's a much better SWR trace that you can read because we've zoomed in a whole lot more. So not that jazzy really at 1090. What is that, about a 4-to-1? Yeah, maybe 3 and some change, but it's not showing me the SWR. See, this is what I was saying. The interface is different. Okay, let's try to change the bands, see if that changes the display. Yeah, okay. Oh, 0 for more bands. Ah, okay. Let's try 23 centimeters. That's higher than I actually want to go. So this is 1270, 1.2 gigahertz plus or minus 30,000 kilohertz, 3 megahertz. So that's interesting. There's a nice dip on that thing up at 1.2. Huh. Okay, so I've got the I've got AntScope up here, and I've connected it to the analyzer, and there we go. That was kind of weird. All right, I've got AntScope up and connected to the analyzer, and we're now recording the screen. So I did a quick run over here on the top right. I don't know if you can see my cursor or not, if it's showing. If you look up here on the top right under the big Rigexpert logo, I've got the range set from 1 gigahertz to 1.2 gigahertz, and I've got 100 points of data, and you can set that number higher. So here's our SWR trace, and apparently this antenna is somewhat resonant on multiple bands, and the one we're interested in for ADS-B reception is 1090 megahertz. And as you can see, we have a very awesome dip. If I plot a marker for that, that is at 1098 there, and there's a marker at 1095. Maybe it's not quite as awesome as I thought. That's 1084. Where's 1090 at? Almost 1090. So let's get rid of you, and you. And there's our 1090 cross. Now, I don't know the exact frequency for ADS-B. It says 1090 megahertz. It may be, you know, a range. I'm not entirely sure. I haven't looked it up, to tell you the truth. But the point is, there is an excellent plot of a very weird, esoteric kind of antenna, because I can't track this. I can't run an SWR sweep this high on my other two Rigexperts. So that's pretty cool. You know, while we've got Rigexpert up, let's run a full range scan, and let's clear that old one out. And let's tell it go. Now this is only 100 points. So you can see that thing is beyond terrible on HF bands. Almost beyond terrible on 2 meters. Pretty rotten on 70 centimeters. Not completely hideous on 23 centimeters. Rigexpert does not have a marker for where the ADS-B stuff is, but here's our previous marker right here, where the arrow is at. And again, I don't know if you can see that cursor on there, but right here where the black line keeps moving, there is our there's our 1090 plot. So that's pretty cool. We did a sweep of the whole range, and I should be able to drag this over. No, I don't want to create a marker. And as you can see, it goes all the way up to 1.4. But what I find is interesting on this, and I think this is going to end up being 2 separate videos, an unboxing video and then a video on this. I've already done an AntScope video, but we're just going to kind of roll this into playing with the Rigexpert. It's interesting to me that there's a lot of data points on here that are outstanding SWR. So here, right around 800 megahertz, and that's, what's that marker? Let's make one there. 840, let's put one there. Yeah, this is some public safety band stuff in here. That'll be P25 phase 2 trunking, at least here in Montgomery County, Alabama. I don't know about where you are, but here, public safety's up in the 850-ish, 850 to 865, somewhere around there, megahertz range for P25 phase 2. So that's interesting. This antenna is not bad for resonant in a lot of different places. I've had this antenna for 4 or 5 years since I first set up FlightAware on the Raspberry Pi. Bought it off of Amazon. I'm sure it was recommended by the people at FlightAware.com. And it's just a fiberglass stick antenna about 1/2 inch in diameter and right around meter-ish long, a little more, a little less, somewhere in there. So anyway, that's pretty cool. And of course, you can grab screenshots and pull data from the analyzer, save it to a file, so on and so forth. I'm not going to save all that. So that's pretty swank. We can export data, we can import data, we can print this, grab screenshots. So what's cool is down here at the bottom, you can screenshot the actual AntScope software, which is what that screenshot button is. And then this next one, screenshot from AA, it'll grab a direct screenshot off the analyzer, which I don't know why you'd want to do that, but there it is. Let me get rid of these. And if you look up here on the top, you see we have several options for phasing of the antenna, the angle versus frequency on the phase, our impedance, and impedance versus frequency in a chart right there. You see the impedance in ohms on the left-hand side, and then across the bottom, our frequency in kilohertz from 0 to the end of the analyzer's range. Here is impedance versus frequency, J sub x, and I cannot remember what that is. And then we have resistance versus capacitance here, or rather RL, resistive capacitance versus frequency, I believe. Here's a TDR function for the cable that this is hooked to. And this is telling me the cable looks to be about 20 feet long, which is just about right, if I'm reading this chart right. Somewhere in there. I've never played with this chart, so I don't really know how that reads. And then a Smith chart. And since we swept 1.4 gigahertz worth of frequency all at one time, that's a very busy Smith chart. Let's rerun that. So let's do from 1 gigahertz to 1.1 gigahertz. Do I have enough zeros in there? I don't think so. 100. 1, 2, 3. There we go. And let's do a run. Let's clear that one out, since that was our whole entire range. And let's sweep it. And there's our Smith chart for a much smaller range. If you're into Smith charts, every time I look at one, I have to go get a book to remember how to read it. Not a Smith chart wizard. So anyway, the software is very excellent, and in my opinion, and they provide this for free with the device. You can download this off their website. I believe this works with nano VNAs as well. The software is awesome because it lets you drive this from a computer and you don't have to look at the screen. For me, especially with a nano VNA, the software is way better than trying to drive the nano VNA screen. You can save all the data. You can create multiple plots against each other. So one of the things that's useful if you're fiddling with an antenna, so you make your sweep and you get your SWR plot like I've got here on the screen. And so I go make some changes to the antenna. I cut a length of wire off of it, and then I can run another plot, and you won't be able to see this too well because this is the same antenna. But now you see it's drawing in pink, and it's actually reading just a little tiny different in a few places. So now I've done a second plot, and I can see if my changes to the antenna, how they're affecting the antenna, which is very cool. And if you're remote controlling your PC that this is running on with a tablet, you can stand out there at your antenna with whatever remote control software you're using and drive this from outside at the antenna where you're making the changes, so you don't have to run back and forth inside and outside. Now, you can do all that from the AA-1400 screen as well, or from the AA-55 Zoom, which is my first Rigexpert that I bought. The screen on the Rigexpert stick, while it has a lot of information, a good bit smaller. It's about a 1.5 inch square screen, I think. In any case, so this has PC mode. That's what we've been in. And let me close this down. And let's go back to that and turn this guy off. And then we'll get out of here by pressing X. And so you can see this has a very full menu on this thing. Settings, and I have not set this up. We can change the colors, the beeps on and off, so on and so forth, backlighting time. The units that you want to put this in, feet or meters, what cable velocity factor you're using, impedance, so if you're doing something other than a 50 ohm, you can change it from that. What kind of graphs you want. So that gives us, I'm sure, multiple options there, parallel or series graphs. And there are 4 pages of this. So we go to 0 for the next page, more setup stuff and different kinds of tests, reset to factory defaults, delete graph memories, so on and so forth. So we'll go ahead and punch out of the settings. And then this is all the different things we can scan. We can set our frequencies, a frequency range. We press function. That lets us jump to our TDR function, our Smith chart, or multi-SWR, which is very cool. So let's do that. Let's do function 7. And on this antenna, this is going to be horrible because this is not really a ham antenna. Oh, and it's not set up. It's testing all of them at the same frequency. So what you would do is set this up for the different ham bands or the bands that you're interested in. So, for example, 80 meters, 40 meters, 20, 15, 12, 17, whatever. And then it'll scan your antenna. If you have a multiband like a DX Commander or a multiband kind of vertical, band dipole, whatever you've got, it'll scan those bands all at one time and show you your SWR. But I'm on a single band antenna and this isn't set up to do that anyway. So let's see, there's that. Our SWR scan for R versus X. We'll tell it to go. And there's the scan doing the plot on the antenna. And I don't know where it decided to pick that frequency, but there you go. Back out of that. Show our SWR. So this is like a live SWR meter. We'll tell it okay. And at 1.28 gigahertz, it's measuring a 1.49, 1.5 SWR. So let's try 1090. 1090. Nope, that's not how you change it. Probably frequency. No, help. Let's do help. Change frequency, right and left. Okay. Ooh, let's go faster than that. Frequency plus arrow, change times 100, or just press 2 and change the number. Okay. Yeah, that's better. 109000. Enter. Yeah, so straight up at 1.09 gigahertz, that's not exactly a stellar SWR, but this is a receive-only antenna, so, you know, we're not transmitting ADS-B. It comes out of the aircraft. So anyway, pretty cool. This is what's on sale at Gigaparts. Went on sale yesterday, Black Friday. Very good deal, $300 off. You cannot beat that at all. There's only one Rigexpert that's better than this one. That's the AA-1400. It obviously goes up to 2 gigahertz. I don't currently have anything that I'm going to need to test that's going to go up that high, but this seemed like a very good deal, and I think there's a little more functionality in this than the AA-55. I also have the Rigexpert Stick Pro. Highly recommend. It goes up to 600 megahertz. So it covers HF, VHF, and UHF, which is really nice. My original one is the AA-55 Zoom, also a very good piece of gear. It covers up to 55 megahertz. So all the ham bands up to 6 meters, basically. So anyway, pretty cool piece of gear. All right. Well, guys, this video has gone on way longer than I planned, and it kind of transitioned into something else. But I hope you enjoyed it and got a little bit out of it. Have a great day, you guys. 73. Take care.